Hey YouTube, Gunham here. Welcome back to Space Engineers. Today, I've got a ship that I'm working on. It's gonna take some time to complete. First off, I wanted to mention of the model I'm basing it off of. There. Let's bring this a little closer. Here's the model. Just an FYI, the model is way bigger than what I'm building. You can see it's kind of glitching through there because it's inside it. So you can see how big the model is. I have to aim at the hangar deck, but you should be able to tell. Take a look at the engines in particular on the back there, and the nose to the front. Now the model I'm basing this off of, I'm going to try to get above so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, this will make it easier. There we go. There we are. So the model is very big with clearly a lot of Titan engines. That's 24 Titan engines. I cannot place the model because of reasons. The game says there's regulations. My version has 6, not 24 Titan engines. This is the Star Wars Dreadnought cruiser from the Kataran fleet, which I believe the first time it was mentioned was with something about Thrawn. So, yeah. Now, the model I base it off of is that it's just my version is way smaller. I'm going to make sure it stays within regulations so you can spawn it in, because I can't spawn in that one. So there's that. So it's got a long ways to go. There's no armament, and the only thrusters are these 6 great big Titan engines. That's the only thrust. Although I will say I am considering changing out to these turquoise. What's the deal with the turquoise one? They have like 3 times the thrust. So this thing would be able to shift if it had that much thrust. Let's go over it, shall we? We'll start from the front. Well, first off, we'll start with this. There's a trench of network that runs throughout the ship. You will see it. This is actually recessed in. Everywhere you see this, it's recessed in slightly. And if you look carefully here, I'm not sure if you can see that well, but here where the cursor is, this is a heavy armor block. On either side of it are light armor blocks, so you can actually see the difference. And over here, this one is heavy armor, but these 3 are light armor. So you can see there's heavy, then 3 of light, heavy, then 3 more of light. And looking at this, you can see the difference. Somebody said they couldn't tell the difference anymore. Well, you can see there's a heavy armor in the middle, and then heavy armor on either side of this panel, and the ones in the middle are light armor. So you can tell a difference. That's how that goes, the top there. Now this side, everywhere it's a flat bit, like here, there, and down there, and here, same with all of that, and the front, everywhere where it's a flat is heavy armor, including here. Now this especially is heavy armor, this entire wall for the hangar. The hangar is very tough because it is double thick everywhere. This acts as the double thick armor here, and on the inside the 2 colors of heavy armor, and it is double thick everywhere, making this a very tough hangar. Now that spine that runs along the ship isn't just sitting there, it is reinforced. These are all heavy armor blocks holding everything together, so it's going to take a lot to knock this over. And this spine ends here. You can kind of make the difference between heavy and light armor, but here's the other bit, and the other spine, and as you can see there's heavy reinforcement all over this thing for this spine. This is the engine area, which is all heavy armor, except for I believe this one little panel here, but that's okay. It's these 3 spaced heavy armor blocks all heavy armor for everything flat. The curved bits are not. However, these curved ones that are black here are heavy armor. Same with the black curves up front. Do not shoot at the front of this ship. I don't know why that's black. Let's change that. There we go. So, do not shoot the front of this ship. Even though this will be where the main bridge is, probably. But you know me, I'm going to have more than one bridge. So that's going to be heavy armor. It's going to be an eyebrow looking at you of heavy armor. Those are all heavy armor, again, with reinforcements. And then there's the bottom. I believe that there's a plate of light armor. Which, well, it's... Currently, this ship's pretty empty. All this segment is on the bottom. There's a bunch of cargo containers, a large series of conveyors, lots of oxygen generation and storage, and a central room which I'll probably use as something for the crew, for probably the hangar crew. And in the middle here, though, again, flat bit, there's heavy armor, flat bit, heavy armor, though I believe not all of it. And there is hydrogen. Now, the point of this is a Dreadnought cruiser. It's not meant to go to a planet. Its fighters are, and they're meant to fight in space. It is designed to handle hydrogen-fueled hydrogen-fueled craft. Its craft are meant to be hydrogen-fueled. Thus, it needs a lot of hydrogen tanks to fuel them. As you've seen here, there is a significant amount of them. So that is how you would fuel it. This large room here, I might fill this in with something, but this is literally just cargo containers on the back wall, which is heavy armor, except for right there for some reason, I don't know why. Let me change that. So, yes, it is all heavy armor with cargo containers, so you can aim there, and this will probably be the cargo containers meant for the fighters, not the ship. And like everything here is probably meant for fighters and ground crews, and maybe some support for the main crew. The main engineering will be back here, which, yeah, these 6 Titan engines have my typical 6 reactors and a set of conveyors going for them. Although I might switch those over to cargo containers, because that'll be storage just for those things. Reactors, probably a good idea. And this is definitely the most heavily defended location of the ship. Other than that, that area is empty, as you can see. I've got plenty of room, though, for guns, gyroscopes, reactors, cargo containers. And it's not connected yet, but again, I've got plenty of room to do what I want. So, going through here, we have access to these rooms, which, yes, this room is designed to be ventilated. So, there's that. Now, going all the way to the front, we have a large flat area here, which I'm not sure what to do with. I could just make this a massive medical bay, or something else for the flight deck. Probably a good idea for the flight deck. So we'll see about that. Down here is the forward. Besides a large array of gyroscopes on the side, there is the forward cargo container, which there are 6 large ones, forward reactors, which is 6 large ones, and forward heavy gyros with some other gyros. So, yeah, lots of gyros, and you can get in here, and then these down there. Now, this is light armor on top because it's under the hangar. You're not going to get it from shooting down or shooting in. This is a front panel of heavy armor for protection. The back panel is heavy armor. The walls are heavy armor with light armor. The entire bottom here is heavy armor plate. So there's that. And again, I got lots of room here to play around with. The bridge will probably be there. I've got all this glorious room. All I need to do is connect to the top here for these 2 viewing galleries, one on either side, right here. And I need to, I need to figure out what to do with all this room. Probably going to connect up to there and connect to the bottom somehow, and this more middle bit. And then this will probably be the main deck somehow, and then up to the bridge, which should be on this deck. So there'll probably only be 4 decks. That one, this one, which is also the flight deck, I believe. Yes, it is. And then the one here, and then the one down here, which this will be split because there's a gap here, and it'll come all the way back until here. So there's that. So there'll probably only be 4 decks on this ship, but that's okay. It's still pretty darn big. I mean, you see how big the Titan engines are. They're kind of stuck in a little bit. What is that, 3? But with 3 there, and then they go all the way to here. You know, that's the end of the Titan engine there. So from there to near the front of there, about where that ends actually, because that's actually it's recessed in slightly, but not much. I've got this empty. I need gyros. I will say this: this ship is heavy. This ship is very, very heavy. So if I can put gyros somewhere, I'm going to put gyros somewhere. Let's go over the size of this monster, shall we? I mean, we've already been discussing several things of it, but let's block this off. But other than that, I'm gonna put gyros galore in here. The weight. By the way, this is all gyros now, but there's more gyros around the Titan engines. Oh, I forgot this lower one. But yes, the reason to have all these gyros. Wait, remember all those times I said heavy armor? There's a reason I said all that. It's because this thing is ridiculously heavy already, and I'm nowhere near done. But first, by the Titan engines. Down below, as you can see there, what are these? Not green? Not green. Odd. Not turned on. No, these are, so I'll figure that out later. So, maybe I just need a new reactor. So these, just in between these 2 Titan engines and in between these 2 Titan engines, gyroscopes. This is a couple of hundred in between these 6 Titan engines, so bear that in mind. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put gyros there. I'm probably going to put thrusters here. So I'll probably yank these out. That's okay. So yeah, I'll fix that later, I suppose. But there we go. Yeah, I'll fix the rest of that one later. And let me just. Okay. So I'll probably put thrusters in there, or maybe weapons, because I like the rear of my ships to be defended, so there's that. Now, I'm probably going to need Titan engines to stop this thing. But let's go to my person. Let's take a look at the weight. 91 million kilos. And remember, it only has engines in the back, and it's basically a shell. 2.34 gigawatts of power. But look at this empty room. Look at all this empty room, which I'm probably going to block this off and just leave this an empty area with some blocks, light armor blocks to act as spaced armor. Or stick it full of gyros. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I probably will stick it full of spaced armor, but weapons as well. So I'm going to have to put weapons next. Not worry about the innards. I need to worry about the weapons and how the conveyors are going to connect everything. So there's that. But, I mean, look at all this empty room. There's so much empty room. I mean, look at this. You see how high this is. That's 12 high from the highest point to that point here. This is 12 blocks. And then I have this giant hole here. Hang on, watch this, watch this. Everyone should know the size of one of these things. There. That's an entire Titan engine right there. You know the size of a Titan engine. They're huge. But look, this is all that it takes up. Just doesn't... So this is a lot of room here. There's a bit of room here, not a whole lot. That room, I don't know, that medical maybe. I don't know. But a bit of room here is not a whole lot. A ton of room here. This is a ton of room. And then, of course, there's this, which is not quite big enough for a Titan engine, I believe. Let's find out. It needs height. So, yeah, it needs height. So, no, it's not big enough for a Titan engine. But let's put one in just for the sake of argument, so we can truly see the size. We can't, and legitimately just not tall enough. Well, there we go. Okay, there's a Titan engine. Alright, so here's another Titan engine for you, so you can get the size of this thing. So I could probably put a couple of Titan engines in here to help stop the thing. But yeah, this is the size of the room I've got. I mean, that's a Titan engine. And it's not quite touching that, but pretty close. And look at this. It's ridiculous. All this room. So I might have internal thrusters. I hate to have internal thrusters, but with this much room, why not? And I think I will switch those out to the turquoise ones, which have like 3 to 5 times the thrust. So it can shift. And I'll probably put a couple other Titan engines elsewhere, including sticking out the sides. I'm gonna have to think of that, and while I think of where to put weapons, but weapons are coming next, and you'll probably see a few Titan engines here and there for side movement. I don't know, and then I gotta think about top and bottom, but I want to try to keep the look of it, so I'm probably gonna have a lot of the thrusters be internal, but with this much room, it'll be easy. Not to mention heavy armor blocks, as far as I know, don't get damaged by thrusters. So, Star Wars Dreadnought Heavy Cruiser, a much smaller one than what that guy had. Just for the sake of argument, let's get antenna. Now, remember this will be sticking out the front, so it's not going to be 100% accurate. So, for the total length of this ship, will be about just under 500 meters. So, 500 meters length, that's not a whole lot. And of course, look at the size of the hangar. If you're interested in ships with big hangars and lots of guns, this is definitely the ship for you once I complete the thing. The size of the hangar alone, besides being, 9 blocks high, it's 9 blocks for the internal height. Other than that, the hangar's 310 meters long. 9 blocks high, 310 meters long. That's a huge hangar. I mean, the hangar is this entire segment here is hangar, and a lot of this is hangar. I think to where this is, right? Yes? No, no, it actually goes beyond that a bit. It goes beyond that a lot. Wow. It goes beyond the hangar to here, so that's halfway between that black line and where it carves down. So the hangar's 2/3, 3/4 of that, and half the back engine is literally this entire segment here that stops there. And then there's the engine, which I forgot there's actually supposed to be something here that goes up to about here. So I need to build that. Okay. It's still under construction, clearly. There's no weapons, and it's supposed to be a Dreadnought cruiser. What do you expect? I'm not perfect. But 91 million kilos. Look at the weight. Look at the stats. 91 million kilos. And yeah, there are gyros everywhere, but there's... This thing cannot move. Watch. I mean, it can. You're seeing it spin, but this is an empty ship. It's not going to be able to do that once I pack it full of guns and other stuff. Also, it doesn't spin very well. So it's going to be very sluggish. I definitely need to increase the number of gyros. So we'll see what I can do. But if it's 91 million kilos with all that empty room, imagine how much it's going to be once I start packing it full of stuff like guns again. So I'll catch y'all later.